Hello, my name's Jane and I want to tell you about a book I've just written, Dementia Diva, Tales and Tips from a Survivor. It's about the years that I spent looking after my elderly mum, and it is an easy read because it's no heavy medical tome. It's actually a comic memoir full of cartoons and diary entries, so it's sort of a light read, and hopefully it is encouraging with regard to using humour to try and cope with what is a really difficult situation. Millions of us across the globe are facing this situation of looking after somebody with deteriorating memory, and it affects so many aspects of your life when you're in that sort of situation, regardless. And the guilt, oh my, wow, I have really homed in on the situation of the guilt, how bad you can feel when you have negative and sometimes almost murderous thoughts about the person you love that you're caring for, and you're finding it difficult. Basically, it's natural, and I'm trying in this book to encourage people to be more open about it and share the way they're feeling, because I think that it just helps. It helps survive what is a very difficult time. I likened it for myself. It felt like I was in prison for years because it affects your social life and everything. Anyway, the book may look at difficult topics like depression and how to cope and how to keep yourself healthy, but also hopefully there's a fun aspect to it as well. It's light-hearted. What I'll do is I'll read you a little excerpt from the beginning of the book, when I just started to realise that Mum had a memory problem. This is actually, I'll go halfway through because it's actually, my mum had been and stayed with me to celebrate her birthday, so we'd sort of had, you know, the flowers, cake, candles, the whole lot, and lots of cards and things, and a nice meal, and I'd taken her home the next day. Anyway, I ring her to see if she's all right, and the following day the conversation we have was that she's telling me during our conversation that she's really excited about tomorrow. Pause from me. Why are you excited, Mum? Well, it's my birthday and I'm really looking forward to it. When I pointed out that we'd celebrated her birthday already, she seemed genuinely horrified. And then after a long pause, she asked me if we could do it again. The above incident tallies with other lapses when Mum is completely unable to remember what she's just done. I joked with a few friends that maybe now I just have to tell her that she's been out for a slap-up meal and save the expense. But it makes me feel very sad, and it's also distressing for her too. Her little face just puckers up in a frown of confusion. I collected her from her luncheon club meeting a few days ago, and whilst we were driving along she got all panicky and said, "Oh, you better hurry, dear. I'm going to be late for my lunch." She'd actually just eaten a 3-course meal. How awful, and a bit of a shock for me each time something like this happens. Well, in actual fact, it was even more of a shock because I'd collected some shopping from the supermarket to drop off with her when I took her home. And I'd also got a few bags that I was taking to the local refuse tip. And because I was upset, I ended up throwing the shopping into the deep skip and having to return to the supermarket and buy it all again. And I have to say, the girl at the till gave me a very funny look, and I'm not surprised. But of course Mum was sat in the car smiling, completely oblivious to the turmoil in my brain. Now I'm going to read you an extract from further on in the book that actually links to the lack of inhibition that people can find that happening with dementia. With my mum, she was always quite a flirt, but it actually did get a lot more pronounced, her sort of flirtatious behaviour. I mean, I often used to go to collect her from the the day centre and find that I was busy peeling her off some chap's knee, where she was sat stroking his head. And there we go. That's the sort of thing that can happen. Well, I titled this bit, What an Appetite for Sauciness. I took my mum for lunch today and she ordered sausage and chips. 3 really large Cumberland sausages arrived on her plate. Clearly they were just too much for her to eat, so I asked the waitress to pop the last one in a doggy bag for her, as I thought a nice sausage sandwich for her tea was a good idea. The waitress said they'd stop doing cardboard doggy bags, but she'd be happy to wrap the one not eaten in cling film for Mum. When she came back to our table with the pink-coloured sausage wrapped in plastic, Mum looked up delighted. She took it in her hand and waved it in the air, suggestively saying, "Ooh, lovely. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this tonight." Needless to say, there were quite a few startled faces amongst the other diners nearby, and some laughter too, particularly the waitress, who's known Mum for years. Good job too. There we go, there's Mum waving pink sausage in the air. So this book, I hope you'd find it interesting. It's light-hearted, but it is packed with little nuggets of probably help and advice that might be useful. And maybe it might not be you that would find it helpful, but maybe you have a friend or somebody that you think would be interested in reading it. So I have concentrated quite a bit on guilt, but also on depression too, because I think that's something that affects a lot of carers, and it also affects a lot of people that start to suffer from dementia. So it's something I think that really needs attention. I mean, I myself ended up on pills for anxiety, so yeah, it's a difficult road. It can feel a bit like a prison, being restricted in your social life and movements and that sort of thing. But there are ways you can get through it, and you need lots of help. So don't isolate yourself, and hopefully you might find my book interesting. Anyway, good luck.